Hello, friends. So, Bible study, the NIV John. We'll have two different videos, verses 18, 25, and we'll take it to the end till 40. And the next video we'll do 19 verses 1 through 22. So in this sort of backstory, Jesus has already been arrested. He's already been seen by Caiaphas. Peter has denied him once. This first, so the two parables that we're covering for here, the first one is called Peter's second and third denial. The next one is called Jesus before Pilate. So, as Simon Peter stood warming himself, he was asked, "You are not one of his disciples, are you?" Remember, he's trying to be a fly on the wall, and Jesus has already told him, "You will not die with me today. You cannot die with me today, because this is not war with soldiers swinging swords. I need you to live so that the ministry continues." So he's already been told what his marching orders are. He denied it, saying, "I am not," all of which, of course, Jesus has already told him to do. One of the high priest's servants, a relative of the man whose ear Peter had cut off, challenged him. "Didn't I see you with him in the olive grove? Like, aren't you the dude who cut off my cousin's ear or something?" Again, Peter denied it. At that moment, the rooster began to crow in fulfillment with Jesus' words. Remember, the difference between a psychic, according to the Old Testament, and a prophet is never wrong, because they're only speaking what God tells them to. Whereas for a psychic is seeing the probable future. So now we're on verse 28. Then the Jews led Jesus from Caiaphas to the palace of the Roman governor. By now it was early morning, and to avoid ceremonial uncleanliness, the Jews did not enter the palace, as they bring somebody to the Romans to be killed. They won't enter the palace, so they're not unclean. They wanted to be able to eat the Passover. So Pilate came out to them and asked, "What charges are you bringing against this man?" So remember, it's early morning here. Pilate, he's just woken up. He doesn't need this rebellion. He's Roman, so he's Italian, because that's what being a Roman means. It's just in this particular thing, it's a particular type of Roman. So, you got to think of him like, in this, he's a governor. So just try to imagine if you were the governor of New York or something. Right, because New York's got a lot of Italian people. It's got a lot of Jewish people. So just you can imagine that kind of interaction between these two cultures. It still goes on today all over the place. And in fact, in the tri-state area where I'm originally from, it's not even uncommon for those two cultures to intermarry with each other these days. In that area, it's what happens: a Catholic with a Jew, an Italian Catholic with the Jew. Happens all the time. So you can just this it's such an old connection. he's like, "What is this? I haven't even had my coffee yet. What are you bringing me?" Because he just doesn't need trouble. Caesar does not want rebellions. The Romans are here long term, so he's got a political career to think about, and he doesn't need any trouble. And they don't want anybody down their side. The Jews are like, "Don't take away our religion." And the Romans are like, "If we keep having rebellions, we will." That's the political dynamic that's going on. So they want him to do their dirty work for him. He's like, if he weren't a criminal, they replied, "we would not have handed him over to you. Just do what we want." Pilate said, "Take him yourselves and judge him by your own law. You trying to bring me your trouble? Take this. I don't want no part of this." But we have no right to execute anyone, the Jews objected. This happened so that the words that Jesus had spoken, indicating the kind of death he was going to die, would be fulfilled. And so they wouldn't be enough to punish me in any way. They're going to kill me. He told his followers that. Pilate then went back inside the palace, summoned Jesus, and asked him, "Are you the king of the Jews?" He's like, let's cut to the chase. I don't have time for this. What trouble are you bringing me here? Is that your own idea? Jesus asked. Or did others talk to you about me? Like, who do you think I am? Like, use your senses. See what's really going on. He's like challenging Pilate to see the energy under the energy. Am I a Jew? Pilate replied. It was your people and your chief priests who handed you over to me. What is it have you done? Like, why are you questioning me? Do you not understand how this works? Don't confuse me. It's too early in the morning for this. Can we just cut to the chase? I'm a busy man. That's the whole, energy he's on. He's like, what's with this guy? Jesus said, my kingdom is not of this world. If it were, my servants would fight to prevent my arrest by the Jews. But now my kingdom is from another place. So Pilate's like, what? So you are a king then, said Pilate. Jesus answered, you are right in saying I'm a king. In fact, for this reason I was born, and for this reason I came into the world, to testify to the truth. Everyone on the side of the truth listens to me. So Pilate's like, who is this guy? What is the truth? Pilate asked. With this, he went out again to the Jews and said, I find no basis for charges against him. He's like, this guy's a weirdo, but we don't kill them just because they're weirdos. Take your weirdo back and go do what you want with him. But it is your custom for me to release one prisoner at the time of Passover. Do you want me to release the king of the Jews? Because he's like this guy, the king of the Jews. You think it like you have to They shouted back, no, not him. Give us Barabbas. Now Barabbas had taken part in a rebellion. So in other verses, like other versions of the Bible, he's a murderer, not him taking part in the rebellion. But it's good to note in here that either way, that's a political tension for Pilate. Barabbas is a known troublemaker, a known person who creates Pilate problems. So he doesn't want to release him. He would much more release this guy that he thinks is maybe a weird, kooky guy. So it's like, oh, so you're another one of their crazy messiahs? Like, we don't kill their crazy messiahs for them. So he's trying to find other things he can do to get them to not stir up this trouble in his morning so he can go about his day. Because he's the governor. He's the governor of this place. He doesn't need to be dealing with this. This is not fun for him. So as we go about the world today, let's remember that what we do and how we interact with others, maybe they weren't planning for us to bring them some sort of trouble or some sort of problem, or maybe we weren't planning for, trouble to come our way. But let's try not to compromise our morals, because Pilate did try to release him several times. And it just wasn't meant to be, because it needed to fulfill the scriptures.